Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to my first Bracketology. I'm just going to go through all the teams and make my picks, so here we go. First up, we got Arizona App State. I don't think there's any question about that one. Arizona's looked so dominant. They did lose to Texas Tech last night, but Koa Pete was out the entire second half, so not going to fault them too much on that. Arizona's still a great team. This next matchup I like a lot. I really like this Wisconsin team. John Blackwell, Boyd, just all the guards on this team, Winter, everything about this Wisconsin team I love. Boopy Miller for SMU is great, but give me Wisconsin in this one. There we go. Moving on, we got Arkansas and whatever. Give me Arkansas on this one. Just really like Darius Acuff Jr. and John Calipari is their coach. So, then you got Gonzaga and Portland State. Gonzaga did have that loss, to Portland. Really bad loss. Probably dropped them a seed line, but Gonzaga's Gonzaga, and Mark Few is gonna get them right. So give me Gonzaga. Moving on, Clemson, Missouri. Really like this matchup. Clemson's one of the more underrated teams in the nation. They're 20-5 right now, and at the top of the ACC. I'm gonna go with Clemson in this matchup. I think it's gonna be close. Missouri's got height, but I just think Clemson really just shuts down their offense. Clemson has one of the best defenses in the nation. Moving on, we got Florida and Winthrop. Florida's looking like a national title contender every day they play. Give me Florida in this one. They just keep getting better, and they're really looked a little iffy at the start of SEC play, losing to Missouri, but they figured it out, and Todd Golden could go back to back. Then we got St. Louis, Georgia. Georgia, I'm not really sure they're going to make the tournament at this rate. They keep losing games. They just lost by double digits to Oklahoma. Not a great loss at all. They really haven't shown anything great. Jeremiah Wilkinson was out against Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure. But St. Louis, this team shoots the three so well. They're one of the most fun teams in the nation. They could be 25-0 if for not the Stanford buzzer beater against them back in November. They're 24-1 right now, and they're one of the best mid-major teams we've seen in a while. So give me St. Louis in that one. Excuse me, a little sick. Purdue and Wright State. Purdue did look iffy against Oregon, but they responded back, and I like this Purdue team. They beat Nebraska on the road. You really don't know what you're going to get every time they play, which is a little concerning, but they still have Braden Smith. They got TKR. Yeah, give me Purdue in this one. All right, moving on to the next region. We got UConn and Tennessee State. Give me UConn. And then Iowa and Texas A&M. This would be probably one of the better matchups of the first round if this does play out like this. Texas A&M has dropped 4 in a row to higher competition. They had a relatively easy start to SEC play, but I like Bucky. The only problem with their team is they're just so undersized that they're going to struggle against athleticism, and Iowa does have some big guys. They are carried by Bennett Starks, though, so they really are going to live and die off of him. And if he has a great game, they're one of the harder teams to beat in the nation. I really don't know who I would pick here. I think I would go with Texas A&M still. I just think they have better consistency, and I would say they're more reliable than Iowa, because in March, you're going to win off of guard play, and Bennett Sturts can be that guy, but in order for me to trust Iowa more, someone else is going to have to step up for them, so that's why I have A&M moving on. Then we got Virginia and Liberty. This is a really good matchup. Virginia, Ryan Odom has really done a great job in his first year as their head coach. Liberty, great mid-major right now, but I'm still gonna go with Virginia. Um, a lot of people don't really talk about them, but they're at the top of the ACC, so I'm gonna go with Virginia in that one. We got Texas Tech and Hawaii. Texas Tech just beat Arizona on the road. They have three of the best wins in the nation uh, against Duke, Houston, and Arizona now. So I'm going to go with Texas Tech. Moving on, we got BYU and Texas. This would be a great game, but I'm going to have to go with BYU. I don't know if Texas is going to make the tournament. They're trending upwards right now, but BYU, you really can't count them out with AJ DeBonsa. But Richie Saunders I think he's out for the season now with a torn ACL, so that's a really big hit for them. But I still think AJ DeBonsa just gets them through this first round, and Robert Wright is great as well. So give me BYU. Then we got Nebraska and North Dakota State. I haven't really watched much North Dakota State this year, so I've heard they're pretty good, but Nebraska ball is way too good to lose to a 14 seed. I really like this Nebraska team this year. They did lose to Purdue, but they had a crazy comeback. When this team shoots the three, they're so hard to beat. So that's why I have Nebraska winning that one. Then we got Utah State and Miami. This would be a really good game. Miami is sneaky good right now. They're trending towards the top of the ACC, and Utah State great in the Mountain West Conference. I really don't know who to pick in this one. I'm gonna go Miami just off of their experience. They're a little older than Utah State, so I'm going with Miami in that one. Then we got Houston versus Merrimack. Houston is not getting talked about enough. They're one of the best teams in the nation. Their offense and defense is just so great. So give me Houston in that one. Moving up here, we got Michigan and New Jersey. New Jersey has been one of the best, really surprisers in that conference. But Michigan is just too good. One of the best teams of the decade in terms of dominance every game. So give me Michigan. Then we got Villanova St. Mary's. St. Mary's, I think they're 21-4 now. They're pretty solid team, but I like this Villanova team this year, so I'm gonna go with Villanova. Moving on, we got Louisville and South Florida. Mikel Brown Jr. is insane, so give me Louisville in this one. Alabama, another great team. They did lose Charles Bediako, but I'm not sure how that will affect them or what the committee decides on that. With their wins, could they be taken away? We don't know yet. But this Alabama team is still great, and they can go on a run. They're dangerous with the way they shoot the three. So then we got Tennessee and Miami, Ohio. Man, I love this Miami, Ohio team. They just play so smart. Don't turn the ball over much. But I want to pick them so bad, but they're facing Tennessee, so I'm going to have to go with Tennessee. Nate Ament keeps getting better and better. Jacoby Gillespie. Just Felix Okpara. I think Tennessee just out physicals them in this game. So give me Tennessee. Moving on, we got Michigan State and Eastern Tennessee. Michigan State has been falling off a little bit. Did just lose pretty bad against Wisconsin, but you can't go wrong with You can't go wrong with Tom Izzo and March. So give me them. NC State and UCLA. I'm gonna go with UCLA in this one. I think UCLA has been playing better as of late, and NC State losing by 40 to Louisville. That was awful. So this NC State team has been great. Will Wade has done a great job in year one at that position, but UCLA is going to beat them. Moving on, we got Iowa State and Harvard. Iowa State, one of the most electric offenses. When they get hot, they can't miss. So, give me Iowa State. Now, moving on to our last region, we got Duke and Long Island. Duke is great this year. They got Dame Sarr, Cameron Boozer, Isaiah Evans. They're just great on and off the ball. So, I like Duke. Auburn, Indiana, another great game. Really a coin toss. Auburn, I like them just because they have Keyshawn Hall, so I think I'm going to go with Auburn because guards win in March, so I'll go with Auburn in that one. St. John's, Belmont. Belmont is one of my favorite mid-majors, but St. John's and Rick Pitino, man, I can't go against them. I like St. John's this year. I like their grit. I like their toughness, so give me St. John's. Moving on, Vanderbilt and UNC Wilmington. Mark Byington has done a great job this year turning around this program. This Vanderbilt team is solid, really in every position. Excuse me. Tyler Tanner and Tyler Nickel. They've been playing great as of late, so I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. Moving on, we got North Carolina and Santa Clara, bro. Santa Clara. I'm going to go with Santa Clara in this matchup with an upset. Caleb Wilson possibly out for the season. Fractured his wrist, I think Tuesday against Miami this week. Without Caleb Wilson, it's going to be interesting to see how they play. They did get a nice ease into what it would feel like facing Pitt. They handled them pretty well yesterday. But Caleb Wilson's going to be really just if he can get back from March, how well will he play? Because he hasn't played in like a month and a half by then. And even if he does get back. So we'll see how that situation turns out. Kansas is insane. Darren Peterson's electric, but it really determines if he wants to play or not. I mean, I don't know what really happens with that. He's out for a game, and he's in for a game, and he drops like 30, 20 points. So I don't know, but Kansas still is a great team. I have Florida Badunga and others. So I like Kansas this year a lot. Kentucky started off really slow, but Mark Pope has figured out how his team works, and they just battle back. They pretty much are down by 10 every single game they play, and they win all of them. And I really like that of a team because that shows that they know how to come back. They know what to do when they're in a tough position. So I'm going to have Kentucky beating them in this matchup. Kentucky played Florida at Florida and really gave them their best shot. They looked pretty good. They cut it down to 2 at one point in the second half. But this Kentucky team keeps getting better and better. So then we got Illinois and Navy. Have Illinois in that one. Moving on to the second round, we got Arizona, Wisconsin. This would be a really good game, and I want to pick Wisconsin really bad, but I don't think Wisconsin's going to be an 8 seed for long. They'll probably move up to maybe a 6 or 5 seed by March, in my opinion, but the way they're playing and the wins that they have. But I'm going to have to go with Arizona's when they're just better overall, so give me Arizona. Then you got Arkansas and Gonzaga. Really tough one here, but I'm going to go with Arkansas. I like Darius Acuff Jr. And, yeah, that's just a really tough matchup. Gonzaga's been a little iffy for me this year. I don't really know if they're good or not. They're kind of inconsistent. Arkansas has been one of the more consistent teams, even though they did lose to Auburn. John Calipari's got them playing great ball as of late, so I'm going to go with Arkansas on that one. Then we got Clemson and Florida. Clemson, one of the more underrated teams, but they just run into a brick wall in this one. Florida's just too good. St. Louis and Purdue. give me St. Louis in this one to pull off the upset. When St. Louis can hit their threes, they can beat anyone. And Purdue has been pretty questionable this month. They have great wins, but also some lackluster performances. They still win them, but they're kind of inconsistent. So I like St. Louis in that one. And then you got UConn and Texas A&M. UConn's just going to get infinite rebounds in this one. Texas A&M, too undersized, so give me UConn. Moving on, we got Virginia and Texas Tech. I like Virginia a lot, but Texas Tech and JT Toppin, they're too good, and with Christian Anderson. Then we got BYU Nebraska. Would be another great one, but I'm going to go with Nebraska. I think with the injury to Richie Sanders, I don't see BYU really going far anymore and making runs, so give me Nebraska. And then we got Miami and Houston. I like this Miami team, but Houston is just so dominant. Houston's way better than Miami, so give me Houston. Michigan and Villanova. I think Villanova could maybe put up a fight this game, but Michigan is just, they're ridiculous this year. It's so hard to beat them. Just because they beat every team by like 40. It's ridiculous. Then we got Louisville, Alabama. Alabama, great team, but I'm going to go with Louisville in this one. I think Nate Oates is a great coach, but Louisville and Mikel Brown Jr., they're just too good, so let me go with Louisville on that one. Then we got Tennessee, Michigan State. My friend is actually a fan of both these teams, so this would be a pretty fun matchup for him. But I'm going to go... Ooh, it's a tough one. I think the SEC is a little not as great this year, so I'm going to go with Michigan State. I think Tom Izzo versus Rick Barnes would be a great matchup in itself. But Michigan State, good defense, iffy offense, but I think they shut down Nate Mint, and I think I have Michigan State going to win in that one. Then we got UCLA and Iowa State. UCLA, a great team. I could see them pulling off the upset, but I like Iowa State in that one. Okay. Then we got Duke and Auburn. And I'm going to go with Duke in this one. They're just more skilled. Cameron Boozer is going to take over on March. They just got too many weapons on the offensive end, so give me Duke. Then we got St. John's and Vanderbilt. Another great game. Really hard for me to pick, but man, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. I think they're more skilled than St. John's. And they have a higher ceiling just off of the offensive end with Tyler Tanner. So if Vanderbilt can get him going, I think they'll probably win this game. Then you got Santa Clara and Kansas. Santa Clara, great team out of the Mountain West, but Kansas, Flora Badunga, and Darren Peterson, too good. Kentucky and Illinois. Give me Kentucky with the upset here. I think Illinois is great, but they've been kind of on a slowing down here as of late. Losing to Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's a great team. But Kentucky, they keep getting better and better each game. So give me Kentucky in that one. Then we got Arizona and Arkansas. I'm going to go with Arizona in this one. They're too good, better coached, and Arizona has the more skilled roster, so give me them. With Koa Pete and all of them. Gosh, I can't think. Florida and St. Louis. Give me Florida. Xavier Lee's been handling the ball well as of late. He was turning the ball over, not shooting great earlier in the season, but now he's figured it out. And I think he's one of the main causes of why Florida has gotten back to a national championship contender, is just because he's been handling the ball well. They're not turning the ball over as much. And they just get so many offensive boards. It's so hard to contain them. So give me Florida. Moving on, we got UConn and Texas Tech. I'm going to go with Texas Tech in this one. JT Toppin and Christian Anderson are going to take over in that one. UConn, they don't really impress me this year. They're kind of, I feel like they're a little bit fraudulent. They don't beat, in conference play, they haven't really beat teams by that much. All their games are pretty close. They win them, which I can give them credit. They win them when it's clutch time, but not as dominant as the other one seeds that we see on this board. Then we got Nebraska and Houston. I'm going to go with Houston just because of their defense. I think they shut down Nebraska's guards, and I really think that Kelvin Sampson, this could be the year for them. So, give me Houston beating Nebraska. Then we got Michigan and Louisville. Kind of the same reasons. Michigan is just, they're so tall in the defensive end. Their guards are ridiculous. This Michigan team is so good. And they have national championship written all over them. So, give me them. Then we got Michigan State, Iowa State. I'm going to go with Iowa State in this one. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go with Iowa State in that one. Really just off their three-point shooting. I think they outshoot Michigan State in this one. And Michigan State they don't really impress me this year. Don't really see much in them. They don't have that high of a ceiling. I think Sweet 16 is probably their ceiling with any matchup that they get. But yeah, give me Iowa State moving on to the Elite Eight. Rhyme there. Okay, we got Duke and Vanderbilt. I could see Vanderbilt winning this one. Duke is very similar to last year where they have this young guards, young team, but they're not really clutch. You saw that in North Carolina loss. John Shire, great coach, but in these clutch situations, he usually draws up ISOs. Like last year for Cooper Flagg, he dropped a bunch of ISOs, and Cooper Flagg missed every shot. And then he draws up an ISO for Cameron Boozer against North Carolina, and he misses. So, John Shire, a great coach, but Duke is not very clutch. But with all that said and done, I still think they handle Vanderbilt. I don't really think Vanderbilt's an Elite Eight team, so I'm going to go with Duke in the one. Then we got Kansas and Kentucky. I think this is when Kentucky's run ends. Kansas, if they were to play in Allen Fieldhouse every game, they would probably win the national championship. This team is just, they're so much fun to watch. And I think they beat Kentucky in this one. So then we got Arizona and Florida. I honestly have no idea who to pick here. You got Bradley for Arizona, Koa Pete. Florida, you got Xavier Lee, Boogie Fland. I mean, dude, I have no idea who to pick. I think I'm going to go with Florida in this one. I think Florida has the higher ceiling than Arizona just because of the guard play. When Florida can get as many offensive rebounds as they do, even if they have a bad shooting game, with Ruben Chinyelu down low, this team is so hard to beat. He blocks shots, he gets rebounds, second chance points. Florida's just, really just, I don't know. And Kentucky's probably played them the best in SEC play so far, just because they got so many rebounds and so many second chance points. But, I mean, you saw, for example, in the Texas A&M game, when they missed all their shots, there was no chance for them to come back because they can't get second chance points because they can't get rebounds. So this Florida team really just dominates you on the boards, and that's why it's so hard to beat them. Um, that's kind of the recipe for Florida's rebounds. We got Texas Tech and Houston. Wow, these Elite Eight games are really good. Um, man, probably I'm gonna go. Man, I'm gonna go with Houston. I think Kelvin Sampson rallies his troops and takes down Texas Tech in this one. I like Houston a lot this year. Not a lot of people are talking about them, and since that, I'm gonna call them a dark horse because not really many people were talking about them. So they're my sleeper pick to win this year. Then you got Michigan, Iowa State. I think Michigan probably wins by double digits in this one. Iowa State a little inconsistent this year, so I think Michigan probably handles them pretty well in that one. And then we got Duke and Kansas. If Darren Peterson is healthy, I would say Kansas, but if he's not, then Duke. And because there's that question mark in the air every time this Kansas team plays, is he going to play? Is he not? I'm going to go with Duke. Duke, John Sire, they're so well coached. They're young. They're great. They shoot well. They get boards. And they play great defense. I'm pretty sure they're one of the best defenses in the nation in terms of stats. So now we got our final four: Florida and Houston, and Michigan and Duke. Wow. So we got 1 seed, 2 seed, and 1 seed, and 1 seed. So kind of chalky, but that's just how better the 1s and 2 seeds are than just the rest of everyone else. There's just such a big gap in skill level. And some of that might be because of NIL, but we got Florida and Houston, a rematch in the national championship, and I'm actually going to go with Florida in this one. I think they have better guard play, and Houston would not be able to contain Ruben Shenula on the boards, and just because of that, I got Florida in my national championship. For the second year in a row, Todd Golden's back. Then we got Michigan and Duke. Oh, man. Michigan and Duke. I think Duke exits here because of the same reason last year. This Duke team is a little iffy on offense. They don't really impress you that much. Which is why I think Michigan has the higher ceiling than them. So I'm going to go with Michigan just based off of that. With Yaxel Lindenborg for Michigan, Duke Cameron Boozer, that would be a great matchup, but I got Michigan winning. So now we got my national championship, Florida and Michigan. And wow, I am going to go with Florida in this one. I think Florida, I just really like Florida this year. The way they've battled back from those tough starts. Tough start to the season in non-conference play. I think they started off, I think they went 8-5 at one point. But now they're just dominating, and I really like this Florida team. Man, but it's really a toss-up. Some of these games are so hard to pick. But yeah, I'm going to go with Florida in this one. Just based off of guard play. I think they have better guards. Michigan, they got Yaxel Lindenborg. But give me Florida in this one, winning the national championship back-to-back, which is actually kind of funny because the last team to go back-to-back was Florida in 2006 and 2007. Ignore that. But yeah, give me Florida. So that's my first bracketology this year. Probably come out with one in a week from now. Probably release one every week until Selection Sunday, which is 28 days from now. So you'll have 3 more of these coming. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching.